So I wanted to give people some feedback on what it was like to attend Africa's Brain Bank Summit in New York City. And it was really impressive. Honestly, there was a lot of moments that stood out to me, but there was a few that I wanted to just touch on that I thought were the most impactful. One of which was the moment that I stepped foot in to the summit, I realized that there were intellectuals from all African countries being represented in some capacity, and they were all working together for a common goal, and that common goal being bringing back the intellectual brains that have left Africa to learn in other areas like the US, part of the diaspora, or anywhere around the world, but being brought together to then bring that knowledge base back to Africa to then assist in helping build not only just its infrastructure, but really just a way of life, if you will. And me learning what that looks like as a collective and being a part of that in some capacity was absolutely phenomenal. Another moment that I realized was extremely impactful while I was there, not only just the representation, but also the level of knowledge that was there. So there were people from all industries, all sectors, all walks of life, and they were actively doing things on the continent that to me was incredibly intense, but at the same time, it was incredibly impactful for me. I was witnessing individuals who are not only, talking the talk, but they're walking the walk. And that to me was something that was really, really cool. Another thing that was really impactful for me when I first, stepped foot into it, and then as it progressed, because it's basically like a 5 day event, and it happens year over year at the same time. And now they're going to be doing more and more events, and we have the privilege to actually assist in helping spearhead the rest of these events as they continue. But something else that I noticed was it was a lot more of like elder knowledge that was being shared between other elders, and I felt for me I felt there was an opportunity there that really resonated with me, being one of the younger individuals there, was to bridge that gap of elderly knowledge to the youth in order to ascend further into the mission of the brain bank, and just giving back to the communities that are building actively, and then bridging that to the youth that could potentially be, the next, well, not even potentially be, but will be the most important, takeaway as this grows. So that's something that's huge, really impactful. I loved it, every moment of it. Other things that I wanted to touch on was what made this summit meaningful for me and why I attended it. So I've actually watched it grow from the very first one. Mind you, I never attended them in person, but I watched them grow through. My business partner that actually explained this to me, that this event is happening, he actually attended the inaugural one and then attended the sixth one. So 6 years later. And that's something that for me, was really, really just made me realize that I want to be a part of it. Is because not only was I there and I witnessed it now, but I've also watched it grow from its infancy up into something that is now in New York. They're giving opportunities for people to be involved in the UN, being involved in Wall Street, and those things were just impactful. And I'll go into those in a second because that's part of what my biggest takeaways were of this entire event. Most powerful idea or lesson that I saw from this summit is sort of what I touched on previously, but it's the camaraderie. It's bringing together the people that are willing to work together from all walks of life, from all countries in Africa, to really just set a precedence on what it looks like to achieve, intellectual prowess in all kinds of modalities, to then bring those back to Africa and showcase what a collective can really do to move different initiatives forward. And I thought that was incredibly powerful, and it was a major lesson that I learned. For me, there was also, major experience, just being there, the major experience in and of itself that sort of deepened the way that I see Africa, and I also see the diaspora. as well as the role of what this looks like as a global partnership internally for me, it was really just recognizing like, wow, me being an African American, not necessarily growing up with uh, individuals that were, I was never really surrounded by, people of African descent or even being black. I graduated in a high school. I want to say I was like one of like nine black people out of 500 different students. And for me, you know, realizing that there's somebody here, there's people here, there's communities here that will assist and help develop not only just identity but confidence in whom you are as a person of color in the United States. But then there's also an opportunity to sort of be brought back to something that you might have been removed from, but it's still there in your blood. And that to me was very unique. I looked at it similarly to how I believe Israel looks like its diaspora in America, where they're always having the opportunity to go back to to go back to Israel and sort of have their birthright citizenship, if you will. And that concept to me sort of stuck out as something that Africa's Brain Break is looking to do for individuals that belong to diaspora here. And that to me was also very powerful. It was a major takeaway, and it builds that global relationship and that global partnership between everyone of African descent. And oddly enough, it's every person on the planet, regardless of the color of your skin, which to me was very unique in and of itself. But I think individuals of my color or darker, just people of color, sort of resonate with it better due to our shared experience in America, if you will. But those are some things that I took away, definitely some impressions. And then something I'm really looking forward to is assisting and helping build the community, bridging that gap to the youth, like I was explaining. But then also just helping and assisting holding events and making these events more robust and offering more opportunities for people to bring startup relationships or funding or resources that most people wouldn't attain. And I can do that through some of the companies that I currently own. Since I'm a serial entrepreneur, I have a few different businesses that we operate, and a lot of them can help do similar things that I'm explaining right now. So and if I was to have one message for anyone that was involved in this, for me, I would say participate, get involved, and adding on to that, I would say make sure to spread the word. And as soon as you do that, take action in bringing people to showcase what this movement really is. Because I've realized that as I've participated myself, there's things that I wasn't necessarily aware of that it drew out of me, and it was definitely a level of confidence, a level of strength, a level of giving that I think once you attend, once you see, once you start to develop that muscle and of not only just attending, but of seeing what happens when you attend, I think that's what sort of brings you to a new understanding of self. It will also bring you to new understanding of what this global relationship really is, and being a part of the diaspora. And I would encourage you to continuously spread the word and bring people to this event. And the next event looks like it's going to be in Ghana, I believe. It might change, but for now, I believe it's going to be in Ghana. And this is a chance where you're going to be able to really interact and network with people that are not just business owners, but there's tons of business owners, but they're the movers, they're the shakers, they're the politicians, they're everything that you would ever seek in any networking opportunity, especially if you're looking to not only just bridge your business, let's say, into Africa, but also, let's say, you wanted to just learn from individuals who are upper echelon in terms of their intellectual prowess within whatever sector or modality that they're doing, and you're going to be able to not only just completely immerse yourself in an environment that allows you to start to learn in a different capacity, but then you really get to see the family dynamic of what's being built, and it's that relationship that I think, to me, should be something that you seek, and this is an opportunity for you to do that. So uh, participate, like I was saying, but thank you for having me attend. It was so impactful, and that's Africa's Brain Bank Summit for me.